Does this piece ring any bells? Look familiar? It should do, because I painted it not long ago, wasn't entirely happy with the outcome, and I feel like I've lost my marbles because today I'm going to be painting it white. So there was something about this piece that I wasn't quite happy with, and the split from you guys was kind of about 50-50. Some of you loved it, some of you hated it, but I personally, not quite right. There's something about it just didn't like. So I'm going to repaint it. The first thing that I've done is I've used a little bit of white spirits and a rag to remove the wax. The wax that I use is Best Dang wax, which is a water-based wax and usually fine to paint over the top of. However, I'm going to be using Dixie Belle Silk All-in-One Mineral Paint, which doesn't like wax of any kind. So I've taken that off. I've just given it a very light sand with my electric sander, and I'm going to get straight on to painting it white. So when I said white, I actually meant cream, because this is an off-white, but an expert in neutrals I am not. This is called Endless Shore. It's a really pretty colour. I have used it before. I'd definitely say it's like a warmer creamy colour as opposed to a stark white, which I think is going to suit this piece really nicely with what I have in mind. So this is Dixie Belle Silk Mineral Paint, which is different to Dixie Belle's Chalk Mineral Paint, and the main two reasons are that this has a built-in stain blocking primer. It also has a built-in top coat. The stain blocking primer is equivalent to using one coat of Dixie Belle's Bond Emboss. It is compatible with Bond Emboss if you prefer to prime separately. You can absolutely do that. It is compatible. And the main question that I get asked when I use this paint is, do you really not need to top coat? And the answer is no. I've sold hundreds of pieces where I've used silk and it's been absolutely fine. Having said that, there are a few instances where I would recommend using a top coat over the top of this, even though this has a built-in top coat. And they are, if you're using this on something that gets a lot of wear and tear. So, for instance, a tabletop, a dining tabletop, a coffee table, a kitchen. A lot of people use this to repaint their kitchens. I personally would put an extra top coat over the top of this, just because you are susceptible to spilling oily things and grease and things like that in your kitchen. Also, if you're going to be using this somewhere where there's going to be a lot of water splashing around, so if you've got a sink vanity, maybe then. So there's some examples of when I would say to use an extra top coat, or recommend to use a top coat. You still don't have to, by the way. They're just examples of when I would say that it might be a good idea. However, I do know people that have used this paint in those examples that I've just given, and it's been absolutely fine. So it really is very durable. It really does have a built-in top coat. You really don't have to have an extra top coat over the top of it. However, if you want to change the sheen level or to add extra durability, you can. So I hope that helps answer a few questions about silk for you. But as always, if you've got any more questions about any Dixie Belle product, please drop them in the comments below. I've been working with Dixie Belle for quite a few years now, so I do know their products pretty well. As always, I will drop the link for all of the products that I've used in the description below, and they're affiliate links, which means if you click through and purchase from those links, I earn a small commission from each sale. It won't cost you a penny more. Don't worry about that. It just helps me get paid to create content like this. So you'll notice the first thing I'm doing is putting a mist of water down. This is just tap water in a continuous mister bottle. Now, usually you would probably have heard in the past people talking about not using silk and water together, because what can happen is if you put too much water with your silk paint, you dilute it down and then you do not get the benefits that silk offers, which is the built-in top coat and the built-in stain blocking primer. However, it does have a 10% tolerance to water, so I'm using that continuous mister bottle, which offers a very, very fine spray, as opposed to a huge splat of water or watering down the paint. It just puts a very fine mist of water on the surface, because it's incredibly hot in the UK at the moment. We're having a heat wave, so you can use water with silk any more than 10% and you will have to probably put a top coat on, because you're going to start diluting the paint down too much. So I hope that helps. And like I say, these continuous mister bottles are the best to do that with, because they put such a fine spritz of water on the surface, and that way you don't get too much water. So if you remember, the drawer fronts were stained using No Paint Gel Stain, which is an oil-based stain. This is what they look like now. It's a touch too dark for what I have in mind, so I'm going to sand it off using my electric sander. If you haven't got an electric sander, you can take No Paint Gel Stain off using a carbide scraper or chemical stripper. These drawers are solid oak, meaning I can sand away at that wood stain. Obviously a wood stain soaks into the wood grain, so you need to find a way of getting that off. With them being solid, it just gives me the ability to sand them away, and it's not going to cause me any problems. If your piece is veneered or not solid wood, then you might want to look at chemical stripper, just because you don't obviously want to sand through a veneer. So with the sanded down drawers, I'm going to use the bone inlay stencil on the drawer fronts in the same colour that I've been using for the rest of the piece, and then leave the wood, the bare wood, behind. So this is the bone inlay stencil. I have cut mine up because I find that's just the easiest and best way to use it. So I've got lots and lots of individual little pieces that I can build together to create a design that fits on the piece that I'm working on, whichever that is. And I've done quite a few of the bone inlay stencil now, because I absolutely love this stencil. It's really, really versatile. You can literally build your own design out of as many pieces as you want. You could literally just use that piece, or if you just wanted a little border around the edge, you could just use one of the border pieces. So versatile, absolutely love it. So that's what I'm going to do. The other problem that the drawers are going to present on this particular piece is that they're not all the same size, so I can't replicate the exact same design on all three drawers because they're graduated. Well, the top one's definitely smaller than the other two anyway. I don't know about graduated, but they're all different sizes, I think. So I can't have the same design on all three drawers, and the way that I do it is wing it, quite honestly. I try to get a rough idea of what I'm going to do, and then just wing it. The problem is that I'm going on to raw wood on this, so if I do make a mistake, it's going to be harder to remove the stencil than it would be if I was going onto a painted background, because obviously with a painted background you can just sand your stencil away and go in with your background colour to act as an eraser. I can't do that on this piece. So I do need to be a little bit more careful with my placement. I can't just wing it and then erase areas that don't work. I've got to plan it out a little bit better. One more tip for if you're doing this kind of design and you've got handles to contend with, whatever their shape, you can kind of just place them on where they would sit, just to make sure that that's not going to interfere with any of the pattern work that you're going to put on. So these are the handles. They are kind of like a drop handle, so it's not like it's going to be obscuring too much of the pattern, because you can kind of go underneath it absolutely fine. They do have these little back plates that go on them as well, so I'm just going to place those on just so I can get a better idea of where they're going to fall and make sure none of the pattern goes behind it. As for the stenciling itself, you are going to need a dry brush, bone dry, not an ounce or a droplet of water needs to be on these bristles, not even damp, because it's just going to essentially water down your paint, thin down your paint, and it's going to make it harder to get a crisp line. I'm using one of Dixie Belle's synthetic brushes. This is the small round. I like stenciling with a round brush. You get the most amount of control and precision. And I'm going to use some masking tape and wrap it around the bristles. You can do this with brushes of any size. I'm just using the smallest one today because the stencil that I'm using is obviously quite small and delicate, so I need that precision. If you're stenciling a huge area with a stencil that is, you know, one continuous pattern over a big area, obviously go for a bigger brush. Don't use one of these, you'll be there forever. Use a bigger brush, like the Best Dang brush, which is a girthy number, or a roller. you could use a roller if you're doing it on a big area. It's just that this is obviously going to need a little bit of precision. So what the masking tape does is keep the bristles nice and compact, because as you can see, the bristles on this brush are quite long, and when you pounce it on the surface, they kind of tend to splay out a little bit, and you don't want that to happen in case it goes underneath your stencil and creates any areas of bleed through, which is basically your paint just seeping under your stencil and creating a line that's not crisp and sharp. So I am going to wing it. I kind of know what I'm doing. I say I'll wing it, I am. I'm going to start with this piece as a border all the way around. This is the smallest drawer. They are graduated, by the way. I've just measured them. So the next drawer is slightly deeper, and the drawer after that is the biggest. So they're going to have different patterns on, but I'm okay with that. I don't like things that are all the same and matchy-matchy anyway. So I'm going to embrace that. And I have kind of just offered this up. Come down and see. I've offered this up to here, and I think it's going to line up. And just before I put paint on the surface, last thing, silk mineral paint is slightly thinner consistency than chalk mineral paint. Chalk mineral paint and Terra are better consistencies to work with for stenciling. That being said, it doesn't mean you can't do it with silk. It just means that you just have to be aware that it is a thinner paint. Now, the fact that I'm going onto a porous surface is going to make it easier, because the surface of this raw wood is going to suck the paint in. It's not going to have a chance to seep underneath the stencil, because that's what happens with thinner paint. The thinner the paint, the thinner the consistency, the more likely you are to get bleed through. So what you need to do is coat your bristles of your paintbrush and coat them well. Then you need to work the bristles, work the paint into the bristles so that your bristles have got the product on and there's hardly any paint left on the end. You want it to be pretty much dry, so take off as much as you can, and then take off a little bit more with silk, and then hopefully you'll be ready to stencil. Stenciling can be quite a slow process, especially when you're building a design like this. So I'm going to speed up some of the areas for you so you're not sitting watching hours and hours of me stenciling the drawer fronts. What I can say is that a little bit of masking tape really does come in handy to hold your stencil steady. So I've done that row there and then that row there. Before I do the side panels, I'm going to do the bottom, because I can always kind of space the side panels out a little bit kind of more than what they should be, as opposed to doing anything weird with this bottom line, because obviously that gap there is quite short. So I'm going to just mirror that line there on the bottom of the drawer. If you did want to give this stencil a go, but you're a little bit daunted about how to make it fit on your surface, you can draw guidelines using chalk, which I have done in other videos, and that just helps with placement of the stencil. Okay, so now I've got the two lines, top and bottom, I can do the side bits, and it doesn't matter if I need to lose a couple of millimetres either side if the pattern doesn't exactly join up, because you won't know. It's only on this short space here. So if it matches up, it'll be an absolute miracle. No, it doesn't. So because this pattern is slightly too big for the space, all I'm going to do is adjust it ever so slightly, so that I get a slightly bigger gap than I should do. That's it. Again, I've used the masking tape not only to hold this in position, but I've taped off the start and finish of where I want this pattern to go. Because the problem is, once I start stenciling, you can't stop me, I just keep going. So obviously I don't want to go over the pattern that I've done on the top and the bottom line. I just want it to sit in that kind of central space. So you can always use a bit of masking tape to tape off the areas where you need your pattern to stop. I've just put the handles back on, or just placed them on. I don't know if I'm going to add any more to this drawer, because there's only a very, very small space in the centre and two spaces either side of the handles that are very, very small. And I don't want to overdo it. I don't want to cramp everything in. You do have to kind of weigh up whether it's going to look good full, packed full of stencil, or whether it's just going to be better to have a little bit of breathing space, because the two other drawers are going to be obviously different. There's going to be a lot to look at. It's not like every single drawer is going to be the same, so I'm going to park this one for now. I may come back to it, I may add something else yet, just not right now. So this is the second drawer. It's slightly deeper. As I said, I don't want it to be exactly the same, but I do want continuity, because I think if they're completely all randomly different, I think it might look a little bit odd. So I'm going to start with the same thing that I did last time, which is this stencil here to go around the edge. So I adopted that kind of design throughout the 3 drawers. So I started out with that border piece around all of them, and that is just going to give me a little bit design continuity, and then the rest of the space I just filled up with other aspects of the stencil. Now, disclaimer that I did use a small part of another stencil. This is it. So the central sections of drawers 1 and 2 are not something from the bone inlay stencil. These are old border stencils that I've had in my collection for years. It just happened that they fit perfectly on this particular design. So that's drawers 1 and 2, just in the very centre are parts of an old stencil. So I'm going to use wax, because wax is not going to make this finish too dark. I don't want to alter the tone of this wood too much by adding a water-based top coat, so I just use Best Dang Wax in clear, because that is the top coat or the finishing product that is least likely to alter the tone of wood too much. I could have put a wood stain on, but I was actually really happy with the tone of the wood. I really like the contrast, so I used Best Dang Wax, as I said, buffed it off, and here's a few close-ups of the finished look. I absolutely love this piece. The first version, when I painted with apricot and had the drawer fronts stained wood, it just wasn't right, but I absolutely love this, to the point where I would keep it. Unfortunately, there is no space for it, so it is up for sale. So I think you'll be in agreement with me. These are much better second time round, just to prove you don't always get things right first time, and that's absolutely fine. As always, thank you for watching the video today. Hope you've enjoyed it. Make sure you hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you next time. Bye!